Chapter 31. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, See, I have called by name Bezalel, son of Uri, son of Ker, of the tribe of Yehudah. And I have filled him with the spirit of Elohim in wisdom, and in understanding, and in knowledge, and in all work, to make designs for work in gold, and in silver, and in bronze, and in cutting stones for setting, and in carving wood, and to work in all work. And I have appointed him Aholiab, son of Achisamech, of the tribe of Dan. And I have put wisdom in the hearts of everyone who is wise-hearted, and they shall make all that I have commanded you, the tent of appointment, and the ark of the witness, and the lid of atonement that is on it, and all the utensils of the tent, and the table and its utensils, and the clean gold lampstand with all its utensils, and the slaughter place of incense, and the slaughter place of ascending offering with all its utensils, and the basin and its stand, and the woven garments, and the set-apart garments for Aharon the priest, and the garments of his sons for serving as priests, and the anointing oil and sweet incense for the set-apart place, according to all that I have commanded you, they are to do. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, And you, speak to the children of Israel, saying, My Sabbaths you are to guard, by all means, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, to know that I, Yahuwah, am setting you apart. And you shall guard the Sabbath, for it is set apart to you. Everyone who profanes it shall certainly be put to death. For anyone who does work on it, that being shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days' work is done, and on the 7th is a Sabbath of rest, set apart to Yahuwah. Everyone doing work on Sabbath days shall certainly be put to death. And the children of Israel shall guard the Sabbath, to perform the Sabbath throughout the generations as an everlasting covenant. Between me and the children of Israel it is a sign forever. For in 6 days Yahuwah made the heavens and the earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed. And when he had ended speaking with him on Mount Sinai, he gave Moshe 2 tablets of the witness, tablets of stone, written with the finger of Elohim. Chapter 32. And when the people saw that Moshe was so long in coming down from the mountain, the people gathered together to Aharon, and said to him, Arise, make us mighty ones who go before us. For this Moshe, the man who brought us up out of the land of Mitzrayim, we do not know what has become of him. And Aharon said to them, Take off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me. And all the people took off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them to Aharon. And he took this from their hand, and he formed it with an engraving tool, and made a molded calf. And they said, This is your mighty one, O Israel, that brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim. And Aharon saw and built a slaughter place before it. And Aharon called out and said, Tomorrow is the festival to Yahuwah. And they rose early on the next day, and offered ascending offerings, and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and drink, and rose up to play. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, Go, get down, for your people whom you brought out of the land of Mitzrayim have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made themselves a molded calf, and have bowed themselves to it, and slaughtered to it, and said, This is your mighty one, O Israel, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, I have seen this people, and see, it is a stiff-necked people. And now, let me alone, that my wrath might burn against them, and I consume them, and make of you a great nation. But Moshe pleaded with Yahuwah his Elohim, and said, Yahuwah, why did your wrath burn against your people, whom you have brought out of the land of Mitzrayim with great power and with a strong hand? Why should the Mitzrites speak and say, For evil he brought them out to kill them in the mountains, and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from the heat of your wrath, and relent from this evil to your people. Remember Abraham, Yitzchak, and Israel, your servants, to whom you swore by yourself, and said to them, I increase your seed like the stars of the heavens, and all this land that I have spoken of I give to your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. And Yahuwah relented from the evil which he said he would do to his people. And Moshe turned and went down from the mountain, and in his hand were the 2 tablets of the witness, tablets written on both their sides, written on one and on the other. And the tablets were the work of Elohim, and the writing was writing of Elohim engraved on the tablets. And Yehoshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, and he said to Moshe, A noise of battle in the camp. But he said, It is not the sound of those who shout of might, nor is it the sound of those who cry out in weakness, but the sound of singing that I hear. And it came to be, as soon as he came near the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing. And Moshe's displeasure burned, and he threw the tablets out of his hands, and broke them at the foot of the mountain. And he took the calf, which they had made, and burned it in the fire, and ground it into powder, and scattered it on the face of the water, and made the children of Israel drink it. And Moshe said to Aharon, "What did this people do to you that you have brought so great a sin upon them?" And Aharon said, "Do not let the displeasure of my master burn. You know the people, that is in evil." And they said to me, "Make us mighty ones who go before us. For this Moshe, the man who brought us out of the land of Mitzrayim, we do not know what has become of him." And I said to them, "Whoever has gold, let them take it off." And they gave it to me, and I threw it into the fire, and this calf came out. And Moshe saw that the people were let loose, for Aharon had let them loose, to their shame among their enemies. And Moshe stood in the entrance of the camp and said, "Who is for Yahuwah? Come to me." And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves to him. And he said to them, "Thus said Yahuwah, Elohim of Israel, each one put his sword on his side, and pass over to and fro, from gate to gate in the camp, and each one kill his brother, and each one his friend, and each one his relative." And the sons of Levi did according to the word of Moshe, and about 3,000 men of the people fell that day. And Moshe said, "You are ordained for Yahuwah today, since each one has been against his son and his brother, so as to bring upon you a blessing today." And it came to be on the next day that Moshe said to the people, You have sinned a great sin, and now I am going up to Yahuwah, if I might atone for your sin." And Moshe returned to Yahuwah and said, "Oh, these people have sinned a great sin, and have made for themselves a mighty one of gold. And now, if you would forgive their sin, but if not, please blot me out of your book which you have written." And Yahuwah said to Moshe, "Whoever has sinned against me, I blot him out of my book. And now, go, lead the people to the place of which I have spoken to you. See, my messenger goes before you, and in the day of my visitation I shall visit their sin upon them." And Yahuwah plagued the people because they made the calf which Aharon made. Chapter 33. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, "Come, go up from here, you and the people whom you have brought out of the land of Mitzrayim, to the land of which I swore to Abraham, to Yitzchak, and to Yaakov, saying, To your seed I give it. And I shall send my messenger before you, and shall drive out the Canaanite, and the Amorite, and the Kittite, and the Perizzite, and the Kivite, and the Jebusite, to a land flowing with milk and honey. For I do not go up in your midst because you are stiff-necked people, lest I consume you on the way." And when the people heard this evil word, they mourned, and no one put on his ornaments. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, "Say to the children of Israel, You are a stiff-necked people. Should I go up in your midst for one moment? I shall consume you. And now, take off your ornaments, and I shall know what to do to you." So the children of Israel took off their ornaments at Mount Horeb. And Moshe took his tent and pitched it outside the camp, far from the camp, and called it the tent of appointment. And it came to be that everyone who sought Yahuwah went to the tent of appointment, which was outside the camp. And it came to be, whenever Moshe went out to the tent, that all the people rose, and each man stood at his tent door, and watched Moshe until he entered the tent. And it came to be, when Moshe entered the tent, that the column of cloud descended and stood at the door of the tent, and he spoke with Moshe. And all the people saw the column of cloud standing at the tent door, and all the people rose and bowed themselves, each one at the door of his tent. Thus Yahuwah spoke to Moshe face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. And he would return to the camp, but his servant Yehoshua, son of Nun, a young man, did not leave the tent. And Moshe said to Yahuwah, "See, you are saying to me, Bring up this people, but you have not made known to me whom you will send with me, though you have said, I know you by name, and you have also found favor in my eyes. And now, please, if I have found favor in your eyes, please show me your way, and let me know you, so that I find favor in your eyes. And consider that this nation is your people." And he said, "My presence does go, and I shall give you rest." And he said to him, "If your presence is not going, do not lead us up from here. For how then shall it be known that I have found favor in your eyes, I and your people, except you go with us? Then we shall be distinguished, I and your people, from all the people who are upon the face of the earth." And Yahuwah said to Moshe, "Even this word you have spoken I shall do, for you have found favor in my eyes, and I know you by name." Then he said, "Please, show me your esteem." And he said, "I shall cause all my goodness to pass before you, and I shall proclaim the name of Yahuwah before you. And I shall favor him whom I favor, and I shall have compassion on him whom I have compassion." But he said, "You are unable to see my face, for no man does see me and live." And Yahuwah said, "See, there is a place with me, and you shall stand on the rock. And it shall be, while my steam passes by, that I shall put you in the cleft of the rock, and cover you with my hand while I pass by." Then I shall take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen. Chapter 34. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, Cut 2 tablets of stone like the first ones, and I shall write on these tablets the words which were on the first tablets which you broke. And be ready in the morning. Then you shall come up in the morning to Mount Sinai, and present yourself to me there at the top of the mountain. And let no man come up with you, and let no man be seen in all the mountain, and let not even the flock or the herd feed in the front of that mountain. And he cut 2 tablets of stone like the first ones. And then Moshe rose early in the morning and went up to Mount Sinai, as Yahuwah had commanded him, and he took 2 tablets of stone in his hand. And Yahuwah came down in the cloud and stood with him there, and proclaimed the name Yahuwah. And Yahuwah passed before him and proclaimed Yahuwah and El compassionate and showing favor, patient and great in loving commitment and truth, watching over loving commitment for thousands, forgiving crookedness and transgression and sin, but by no means leaving unpunished, visiting the crookedness of the fathers upon the children and the children's children to the 3rd and 4th generation. And Moshe hurried and bowed himself towards the earth, and did obeisance, and said, If now I have found favor in your eyes, O Yahuwah, I pray, let Yahuwah go in our midst, even though we are a stiff-necked people, and forgive our crookedness and our sin, and take us as your inheritance. And he said, See, I am making a covenant. Before all your people I am going to do wonders such have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation. And all the people among whom you are shall see the work of Yahuwah, but for what I am doing with you is awesome. Guard what I command you today. See, I am driving out from before you the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Kitzite, and the Perizzite, and the Kivite, and the Jebusite. Guard yourself, lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land where you are going, lest it be a snare in your midst. But break down their slaughter places, and smash their pillars, and cut down their asherim. For you do not bow yourselves to another mighty one, for Yahuwah, whose name is jealous, is a jealous El. Lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they whore after their mighty ones, and slaughter to their mighty ones, and one of them invites you, and you eat of his slaughterings. And you take his daughters for your sons, and his daughters whore after their mighty ones, and you make your sons whore after their mighty ones. Do not make a molded mighty one for yourselves. Guard the festival of Matzah. For 7 days you eat unleavened bread, as I commanded you, in the appointed time of the new moon of Abib, because in the new moon of Abib you came out of Mitzrayim. Everyone opening the womb is mine, and every male firstborn among your livestock, whether bull or sheep, but the firstborn of a donkey you ransom with the lamb. And if you do not ransom, then you shall break his neck. Every firstborn of your sons you shall ransom, and they shall not appear before me empty-handed. 6 days you work, but the 7th day you rest. In plowing time and in harvest time you rest. And perform the festival of Shavuot for yourself, of the first fruits of wheat harvest, and the festival of ingathering at the turn of the year. 3 times in the year all your men are to appear before the Master Yahuwah, the Elohim of Israel. For I dispossess nations before you, and shall enlarge your borders, and let no one covet your land when you go up to appear before Yahuwah, your Elohim, 3 times in the year. Do not slay the blood of my slaughtering with leaven, and do not let the slaughtering of the festival of the Pesach remain until morning. Bring the first of the first fruits of your land to the house of Yahuwah your Elohim. Do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, Write these words, for according to the mouth of these words I have made a covenant with you and with Israel. And he was there with Yahuwah 40 days and 40 nights. He did not eat bread, and he did not drink water. And he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 words. And it came to be, when Moshe came down from Mount Sinai, while the 2 tablets of the witness were in Moshe's hand, when he came down from the mountain, that Moshe did not know that the skin of his face shone, since he had spoken with him. And Aharon and all the children of Israel looked at Moshe, and saw that the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him. But Moshe called out to them, and Aharon and all the rulers of the congregation returned to him, and Moshe spoke to them. And afterward the children of Israel came near, and he commanded them all that Yahuwah had spoken with him on Mount Sinai. And when Moshe ended speaking with them, he put a veil on his face. But whenever Moshe went in before Yahuwah to speak with him, he would remove the veil until he came out. And when he came out, he spoke to the children of Israel what he had been commanded. And the children of Israel would see the face of Moshe, that the skin of Moshe's face shone, and Moshe would put the veil on his face again, until he went in to speak with him. Chapter 35. And Moshe assembled all the congregation of the children of Israel, and said to them, These are the words which Yahuwah has commanded you to do. Work is done for 6 days, but on the 7th day it shall be set apart to you, a Sabbath of rest to Yahuwah. Anyone doing work on it is put to death. Do not kindle a fire in any of your dwellings on the Sabbath day. And Moshe spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, This is the word which Yahuwah commanded, saying, Take from among you a contribution to Yahuwah. Everyone whose heart so moves him, let him bring it as a contribution to Yahuwah, gold and silver and bronze, and purple and blue and purple and scarlet material, and fine linen and goat's hair, and ram skins dyed red, and fine leather, and acacia wood, and oil for the light, and spices for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense, and shoham stones, and stones to be set in the shoulder garment and in the breastplate. And let all the wise-hearted among you come and make all that Yahuwah has commanded: the dwelling place, its tent and its covering, its hooks and its boards, its bars, its columns and its sockets, the ark and its poles, the lid of atonement and the veil of the covering, the table and its poles, and all its utensils, and the showbread, and the lampstand for the light, and its utensils, and its lamps, and the oil for the light, and the incense slaughter place, and its poles, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the covering for the door at the entrance of the dwelling place, the slaughter place of ascending offering, with its bronze grating, its poles, and all its utensils, the basin and its stand, the screens of the courtyard, its columns and their sockets, and the covering for the gate of the courtyard, the pegs of the dwelling place, and the pegs of the courtyard, and their cords, the woven garments to do service in the set-apart place, and the set-apart garments for Aharon the priest, and the garments of his sons to serve as priests. And all the congregation of the children of Israel withdrew from the presence of Moshe. And everyone whose heart lifted him up, and everyone whose spirit moved him, came, and they brought the contribution to Yahuwah for the work of the tent of appointment, and for all its service, and for the set-apart garments. And they came, both men and women, all whose hearts moved them, and brought earrings and nose rings, and rings and necklaces, all golden goods, even every one who made a wave offering of gold to Yahuwah. And every man, with whom was found blue and purple and scarlet material, and fine linen, and goat's hair, and ram skins dyed red, and fine leather, brought them. Everyone who would make a contribution to Yahuwah of silver or bronze brought it. And everyone with whom was found acacia wood for any work of the service brought it. And all the wise-hearted women spun yarn with their hands, and bought what they had spun, the blue and the purple and the scarlet material, and the fine linen. And all the women whose hearts lifted them up in wisdom spun goat's hair. And the rulers brought shoham stones, and the stones to be set in the shoulder garment and in the breastplate, and the spices and the oil for the light, and for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense. The children of Israel brought a voluntary offering to Yahuwah, all the men and women whose hearts moved them to bring all kinds of work which Yahuwah, by the hand of Moshe, had commanded to be done. And Moshe said to the children of Israel, See, Yahuwah has called by name Bezalel, son of Uri, son of Ker, of the tribe of Yehudah. And he has filled him with the spirit of Elohim, in wisdom, in understanding, and in knowledge, and in all work, to make designs, to work in gold, and in silver, and in bronze, and in cutting of stones for setting, and in carving wood, and to work in all workmanship of design. And he has put in his heart the ability to teach, in him and Aholiab, son of Achizamach, of the tribe of Dan. He has filled them with skill to do all the work of the engraver, and the designer, and the embroiderer, in purple, in blue, and in purple, and scarlet material, and in fine linen, and a weaver, doing any work, and the makers of designs.